Hello, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome. I'm very pleased to be joined by Elli Varkaraki. Elli is the global hydrogen expert at Yara and has over 20 years experience specifically around understanding electrolysis and hydrogen. So welcome, Elli. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
So you're going to be speaking at the World Electrolysis Congress, which is in Dusseldorf, I think 14th to the 16th of March. A lot of discussions obviously around electrolysis, key part of the hydrogen value chain. And I guess a lot of the discussions there are going to be around efficiency and looking at some of the technology readiness of some of the different electrolysis platforms and how those can scale up in size. So maybe you could give us some of your background to your own journey in electrolysis and hydrogen, and then also maybe lead into some of the work that you're doing there at Yara.
Thank you. Well, on the personal side, I started as a process engineer in ammonia and urea plants in Casale, and I was asked to organize a hydrogen laboratory for the testing of alkaline electrodes withstanding power variations from wind and solar. And so, and for the past 20 years, I've worked for the integration of hydrogen technologies with renewables. I've worked with the main three technologies, namely alkaline, PEM, and solid oxide. Yes, here now at Yara, I am glad to contribute to the aim of Yara to decarbonize the food chain by transforming the ammonia plants into green ammonia, and of course with the need to use green hydrogen. And we are participating actively in different projects for the scale-up of electrolyzers to the scale needed for such industrial plants. Such electrolyzers do not exist yet. And there are a lot of challenges and opportunities for an increase of efficiency during the scale-up.
Yeah, and what are some of those sort of challenges? I mean, I'm assuming it's around reusing the energy and trying to create much more efficient processes that you reuse heat and they're able to use a wide variety of inputs and sort of building that industrial process.
Yes, for the moment, there are possibilities to increase efficiency at almost all levels, whether it is at stack level and of course in the balance of plants, which is probably the part that has been less addressed until now. So it is possible by stronger integration with surrounding plants and with other applications to increase the overall efficiency of an electrolyzer plant.
Yeah, and when you say balance of plants, it's the electrical part you're referring to for those sort of non-engineers amongst the listeners. And what are some of the efficiencies there that you can see happening or are working on?
So on the electrical part, indeed there is a potential to have an efficiency increase. As a matter of fact, and for decades, the power electronics for the electrolyzers were not sized and were not designed on purpose for electrolyzers, and they have their own characteristics. But nowadays, by scaling up, the manufacturers are trying to get advantage of the lower prices of power electronics that are related to PV plants, for example, photovoltaics, and so the scale up, the number of modules that will be connected in series in parallel can be adapted so that we can have a better efficiency for the electrical part.
Right, because I mean you're taking in AC and it's that conversion. So obviously modules produce DC and they have inverters clearly, but it's that piece, the inverter, optimizing the inverters for the next process down the line in terms of electrolysis.
Yes, it is important to optimize these AC DC converters.
Yeah.
During the scale up, of course, it is clear that the stacks, the basic units for the electrolyzers, cannot be, their size cannot be increased well above a few megawatts, let's say 5 to 10 megawatts. So all the large-scale projects are related to the connection of several stacks in series, or in parallel. And the number of inverters that will be needed has an influence on the overall cost and efficiency.
Understood.
But talking about efficiency, there are also other fields like the purification section, whether for the water or the hydrogen purification. In case you want a very high purity hydrogen, like for example in mobility applications, the purification section represents more losses than when it is used for ammonia. Again, there are possibilities, and an important part is also related to the auxiliaries, pumps, compressors, and the overall ventilation, the use of air, ventilation, and all the auxiliaries around the plants, which for the moment are not optimized.
You mentioned other surrounding plants. So, I mean, one is obviously the desalination plant, I guess, if you're using seawater, which I assume most projects are, and the other, what are some of the other plants that are would surround, say, the electrolysis process?
So, for example, in the case of green ammonia, we have an excess of oxygen, and oxygen can be used in other plants. It can be used for the wastewater treatment if there are stations nearby. It can be used in other processes. For example, we are looking into its use for nitric acid production. And in general, there are a lot of applications which can have an increased efficiency by using oxygen or enriched air.
Understood. So it's a bit like, I guess, sort of designing the petrochemical industry at and the symbiosis of all of those processes in desalination, oxygen, and etc. In terms of the ammonia part, is there innovation there, or obviously happening in converting hydrogen into ammonia, and a different process when you're taking in green hydrogen as opposed to the existing gray hydrogen, and or in the future blue hydrogen as well?
Well, one of the challenges by using green hydrogen in large industries is that most of the existing large industries are less designed for flexible operation than electrolyzers. A lot of work has been done on the flexible operation of electrolyzers, which can follow up the production of renewables quite fast. But this is not generally the case of most industrial plants. So there are challenges in operating the system in symbiosis between more variable and easily variable electrolyzer production and the normal operation of the industry. So we are also looking into the possibility of using ammonia plants flexibly.
Understood. It is fascinating in a lot of areas, I guess, to be developed, and I guess it is about learning through doing, and you're working on a couple of projects there at Yara. What are some of the scale of the projects you're working on? Are you still at sort of demonstration scale, or you're now at the sort of stage 1, stage 2 level in terms of pilot plants, etc.?
So Yara is involved even in some projects related to research for different technologies in relation to green ammonia. That's the major projects actually related to electrolysis. One under construction into a SCRAPE project in Porsgrunn, Norway. It's a 24 megawatts electrolyzer project to replace 5% of the hydrogen needed in the existing ammonia plants. There is still another project in Pilbara, Australia, which includes the operation of a 10 megawatts alkaline electrolyzer with renewable energies.
Okay, understood. So that 5% is, you said, 24 megawatts. So the quick clarification, yeah, I mean, the scale of that project will be quite enormous, sort of 500 megawatts, is that right? Yeah.
Yes, and this is a project we are also working in. It's the next step beyond spray. The Hegera project is about the full decarbonation of an ammonia plant in Porsgrunn, Norway.
Yeah.
Which needs approximately 500 megawatts electrolysis.
Yeah. And that, do you know how many tons of ammonia that plant would produce or produces in total?
Just had not in mind. I remember well several thousand tons per year, but I don't have the number now in mind. Sorry.
No problem. I mean, obviously, Yara is a huge player in terms of ammonia production. I think north of 8.5 million tons, I think you produce annually. So a lot of work to be done in terms of the decarbonisation of ammonia, and certainly looking forward to the discussions and in-depth discussions, and hopefully being able to push the industry forward with the World Electrolysis Congress. It is obviously the second event. A lot of interesting discussions, a lot of focused discussions all around, you know, both efficiency and integration, which are the two sort of main streams. So we look forward to hearing you participate and sharing your thoughts there. But thanks for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Thank you. I just checked about the ammonia production. It's about 1,200 million tons per day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot for that, and I look forward to meeting you in Dusseldorf.
Thank you.
Many thanks.